Good evening. Now, we got a lot of V8s on the show tonight and even a jet engine. So, to bring a bit of balance, we thought we'd start by looking at this very eco-friendly, semi-electric Toyota Prius. OK, we've looked at that now, so let's move on to James, who's been hurtling around the mountain roads of Sicily in a thumping great Maserati. As I'm sure we're all aware, OK, Britain has started flooding quite often these days. A couple of reasons for this. One, a lot of people these days are buying Toyota Priuses, which of course is cooling the world down, and that's causing more rain. Here she is!
Yeah! Good girl. Yeah, she's fantastic. She is a Labradoodle, so she's part Labrador and part Poodle.
Yeah, that makes her a hybrid.
Yes.
We were going to call her Prius, but that would have been cruel, and she would have eaten a lot more than we were expecting.
Yeah.
So, you're not going to believe her real name, OK? This is a work of genius. Her name is Top Gear Dog.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Did you see Cameron Diaz last week when she said, "My Toyota Prius does 52 miles to the gallon in the city"? No, it doesn't. It just doesn't.
No, absolutely not. In fact, when they said, Cameron, it does 52 miles to the gallon, they were acting.
Yeah. In fact, if she can do 52 miles to the gallon in that car, I'll let her sleep with me.
That's fair. And that's not the sound of Cameron Diaz reaching for a car key.
Yes, so the Toyota Prius. Now, to make this as economical as possible, they go to the ends of the earth, quite literally. I mean, the nickel, OK, that they use to make the batteries that power the electric motor, that comes from a mine in Canada. Now, nickel mining is a filthy business, a lot of sulphur and acid rain, but no matter. They load it on an enormous cargo ship, sent to Europe, where it's refined, then on to China, where it's turned into a sort of foam, then to Japan, where it's put in the batteries and into the car. It's so complicated, in fact, to make a Prius that a recent study found that in the long term it does more environmental damage than a Land Rover Discovery. But, no, it's true, but it is at least economical. Or is it? Now, 10 laps, and we are finished.
Come on.
I have the results here.
Yes.
The Prius did 17.2 miles to the gallon. The M3 did 19.4 miles to the gallon.
Hang on.
And that was very fried.
Hang on. So,
No, seriously.
19
Yeah.
to 17.
The M3 is more, at that speed, an M3 is more economical than a Prius.
So what you're saying is, if you want an economical car, buy a BMW M3.
No, I'm not actually. No, seriously, what I'm saying is, it isn't what you drive that matters, it's how you drive it. That is everything. Because there's a load of people right now, I know this, who've got Mondeos, they go, "Oh, I can't afford the petrol in them anymore, I'm going to have to get rid." Don't, because everyone's in the same boat, you've got 20p for it, you'll end up with a horrid eco box. Much better, don't change the car, change your driving style.
Well, next question.
Jeremy, what car would you get to your worst enemy?
Well, as I've discovered just on the way here, Renault Scenic is very poor. Mitsubishi Fev is very poor, but the car that I reserve a special level of hatred for is the Toyota Prius. Because that is a cynical marketing exercise for the gullible and the stupid. Because anybody who thinks that mining nickel in Canada and then shipping it across to Norway so it can be turned into batteries and then shipped on a tanker across to Japan and put into a car and then shipped back to America or Canada and is bought by idiots who arrived this morning on the underside of a Eurostar train so they can drive into people all over London because they haven't a clue where they're going. That is a moron, and anyone who buys one, likes one or praises one in any way is a complete and utter imbecile.
I believe that was a rant.
Yeah. It just goes to show I don't... James likes them.
I find them interesting,
There
but I
you go.
find cars interesting.
Next question.
Yes, anyway, have you seen this plan to put these stickers on the windscreens of cars in showrooms? They're a bit like those ones you get on fridges and washing machines. They're like the energy sticker. It tells you how environmentally sound it is. That's the range of stickers. So green is essentially for things like the Toyota Prius, and red at the other end is for sort of Ferraris and supercars. And the good thing is, it's made it much quicker going into a showroom and choosing a car.
Absolutely, you just go for the red ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Red ones will all be interesting and the green ones will all be just
Boring.
Boring, yeah, exactly. And there's another advantage as well, actually, to buying red cars, because environmentalists say that if we all drive real gas guzzlers, big SUVs and so on, then the world will heat up, the ice caps will melt, the sea level will rise. They produced a map to show the effect of that just the other... Wales is cut off! Hey! Look at that! If you buy red... Or, and I know there are some Welsh people here, look at it the other way round, England's cut off! Right, news.
Yes, right. Now, European Car of the Year has been revealed.
Oh, good.
Ready?
Yes.
This is 57 independent motoring journalists who every year name the European Car of the Year, and every year get it wrong.
Wrong, completely.
Yeah, they do, every single year. I've got a list here of previous winners, or some examples of them at least. Citroën XM. In 1990, they decided that was the best new car launched, ignoring the fact that the electrics didn't work, ever. And that while you were signing your name on the order form, it was disintegrating out the back. So this year they've gone for...
The Toyota Prius.
There you go, you see? Perfect.
Have you seen the Toyota Prius?
Oh, yes.
Look at it. This is a car with 2 engines.
Both of them minutely small.
Yeah, neither engine is big enough. It's hideously ugly. It's kind of supposed to be green. I might drive that up the mountain. I could drive that up the mountain. That would give the environmentalists something to think about. That's good. No, it isn't good. It's bad. It's quite good.
If you drove it where you drove the Discovery, it might heal the mountain as it went past and make it better.
It's a horrid car, that.
Helmet when I drive my Prius.
You got a Prius? I love the Prius. So what
I heard that was your favourite car.
It is my favourite.
You pop around in town with
drive
that, right?
in and out of town?
I just
They expect it.
I'm married to my Prius. Love it. I want to finish with the Prius. What do we think?
Cool.
That was just a noise. You see, the thing is we know it to be a rubbish car, okay? But if you're after one of those girls with a fringe and a lot of those ribbons down here saying she cares about breasts and AIDS and moss, okay? You know the type. Slightly earnest women. She's going to think you made an environmental statement by buying one of these, and she's going to like it, okay? Right. So on that basis, it is cool.
You are pushing it there.
Well, there is a word of warning. There is a caveat with that. See, while she's out for dinner with you, having a nice salad, organic, obviously, and you're sitting there reading her Victorian poetry and, you know, weeping copiously because you think they're like that, she's going to be thinking, I wish Clint Thrust would swing through the windows now, swoop me away, put me in his Mustang, say, forget the tennis and love, let's go have some venison, let's eat Bambi. That's what we actually want. So, in fact, it's kind of cool, but be careful. According to the Daily Mail, at Superstorm Sandy's most powerful moments, the wind speed hit 98 miles an hour. Or, to put it another way, not quite as fast as a Toyota Prius.
I always thought it was Prius, but I...
Yeah, no, it's because you're foreign.
As indeed is the car.
Yeah. It's actually Canadian, the batteries. Well, the nickel in them is. Which is then shipped all the way on an oil-burning ship to Norway, where it's turned into batteries, and shipped all the way to Japan, where it's turned into the car, and then it's shipped all the way back to Britain, where morons who think they're saving the planet buy it.
Go that way. So we're saying diesel's uncool, they're down this end of the board. All right, next thing could be electric cars. Now, billions and billions of pounds are spent in America by organisations, including the government, on developing electric cars. And this... the Ford Think, is the best they can come up with. And frankly, you're better off doing the Guardian thing and jogging to work. Let me show you why. Now, here's the Think with the Stig at the wheel. Listen to the throbbing silence of that electric motor. Glorious. For comparison, we've lined it up against something equally sprightly. Jason. And they're off. Now, the Think can do 0 to 30 in 7 seconds. But you can have problems, particularly if you use the electrical stuff. Things like the stereo. Now, Jason by now is way behind, but look what's happening. It's running out of steam. Oh, my word, it's stopped! And the giant Galapagos tortoise is past and across the line! Would you drive an electric car then, Jeremy?
No, I don't want to drive around in an appliance. It's as simple as that. And I'll tell you something else about electric cars, OK? You have to charge them up at night, OK? How many people park outside their houses? You have to park 3 streets. You do. Well done you. There's one man who parks outside his house. But for the rest of us, you park 3 streets away. And even if you can park outside your house, there's just going to be flecks. You'll be walking down the pavement like this over all the flexes. They're stupid.
Maybe not the best, but there might be a solution, and as is often the case, it's a compromise, and it's a hybrid car. It's the Toyota Prius. The clever thing is, and the reason it's a compromise, it's got 2 engines. There's a 1.3-litre petrol and an electric motor. And the way it works is it runs on the electric motor at slow speeds, and then when it needs more power or the motor runs out of charge, the engine, the petrol engine, fires up, and that puts the charge into the electric one. So, you don't have to plug it in. Brilliant.
And not just brilliant. I've got a list here of the people who are driving this car. Not a made-up list. This is for real. Cameron Diaz has one of these cars. Leonardo DiCaprio. Donny Osmond, we'll skip over that. Alicia Silverstone, Jane Fonda, Jeff Goldblum, Billy Joel, move over that one, Ted Danson, Dennis Weaver, David Duchovny, John Ketley. The list goes on forever. And yet, despite that, despite the incredible patronage, I don't know, where do we put it? Uncool? I'm thinking not uncool. I'm thinking not even seriously uncool. I'm thinking further down here. I'm thinking way out of the lit part of the basin in the deep, dark recesses of hell. But you know... So do you drive some big old American Chevy, then, that you keep going with shampoo and things in the States, or you...
No, I have a little Porsche that I drive, a 4S, 2006 or something.
So no Prius?
No Prius.
Good man. Good. No, you'd be very welcome here. You see that? No Prius. Look at that, the man in a pickup truck towing a heavy thing.
There you go. Things you will never hear said at that event. Gotta rush, lads, I'm late for a poetry reading.
That's truck number 3, Bernie Sanders, everybody.
Anyway, the thing is, they worked out they could pull more heavy things if they fiddled with the ECU on the diesel engines, because that would generate more power and, as a byproduct, more smoke. That's why it's called coal rolling. And now various kids are starting to do it out on the highway. What they do is they go out on the street and then do it when they overtake a Toyota Prius. Look at this, right? Here we go.
Oh, for God's sake. Really?
Come on.
Really?
No, I know I shouldn't say this, but every time I overtake a Prius, I always think I could do this in 4th. But I'm going to use 2nd instead. It's going to annoy him even more.
You do know you're 56 years old.
Yeah, but I've got a mental age of 9.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, now, you know, sometimes you meet somebody who's got a growth on their face, and it's actually bigger than their face. You ever seen that? No, I mean, one of those really ugly things. No, this is just a face. I'm talking about a growth.
That's your face?
I bring this up because there's a company in Japan who's obviously used this growth thing as an inspiration for their new Prius camper van. Here it is.
Oh, God! It's the elephant car!
It is! I'm so pleased to meet you! Nobody knocks my cathedral over.
It's a monster!
No, you've got a double bed in the back and then another one in that growth. That is not a car that you could talk to at a party unless you were looking at something else, is it? Did you all just hear that? You know nothing about cars. Why have you just bought a Toyota Prius? Ha-ha! Get out of that and stay fashionable.
So when I go somewhere that I'm, you know, where people might know where I'm going, I can be a hypocritical celebrity.
Yeah, they are. Have you noticed how many celebs have bought these things?
Yeah, but
now?
the other thing, you have. But if you get a big car like a 6-litre, you can buy a tree. You can do a carbon exchange program with your car. So it costs, if you do 2,000 miles in a Bentley, it costs you a tree a year.
Which is fair enough.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do with your Prius?
Well, on the carbon exchange base, I don't have to buy the tree because I've got a Prius.
You're never going to drive it, are you? You're just going to go places in America and say, well, you know, I've got a Toyota Prius. Same as Christian Slater, who also has a Pontiac GTO.
Yeah, well, they all do, don't they?
Paul Newman.
Yeah.
He's got a Prius. He has a race team. Here's a Volvo with a 400 brake horsepower Cosworth V8 and says I'll drive a Prius. It's honestly, they go on, you're Prince Charles? Oh, we must do more for the environment. He's got an Audi A8 Quattro, several Range Rovers, a V8 Vantage, and a Bentley, and a Prius. Yeah. Yes, well, I drive a Prius. He alone is responsible for the mild autumn we've been having. Just all by himself.
So, what about speed?
Let's find out. Nope, it hasn't got any. And I'd like to start tonight by talking about the Hollywood blockbuster The Day After Tomorrow. In essence, the Gulf Stream stops, a lot of Americans freeze to death, and it's not really the end of the world. Anyway, the thing is that once again, it has focused our attention on the wicked car and what might be done to stop it going around clubbing baby seals to death.
This, apparently, is the answer. It's the Toyota Prius, and while it may look like a four-door saloon, it's been billed as just about the greenest car ever made. That's why it's become the latest must-have accessory among Hollywood's right-on elite. Cameron Diaz has one, so does Robin Williams and Tim Robbins. Leonardo DiCaprio has 3. They've all been convinced that by driving one of these, the Tasmanian fruit bat will come back to life, that GM crops will be uninvented, and that the Earth will once again cool down. So, what do they all see in it?
Well, in essence, it's an electric car. But unlike any other electric car I've ever come across, you don't have to charge this one up for 12 hours every 40 miles. In fact, you never have to charge it up at all. And here's why. That is a normal 1.5-litre petrol engine, which is sometimes used to drive the car. But sometimes it's used to charge the batteries, which power this, which is the electric motor that also powers the car. So that makes the Prius a hybrid, and that makes it brilliant. In theory. I'm driving along now, slowly, in a village. So that means I'm running greenly and silently on the electric motor only. See the trees smile at me as I waft by, and watch the children run into the road, because they haven't heard me coming. Okay, I'm coming out of the village now, so I put my foot down. Yep, and now the petrol engine has started and is working with the electric motor to whiz me along. To help you understand which motor is doing what at any given moment, you get this screen, like so. There we are now. At the moment, the engine is driving the front wheels and sending power to the battery. Put my foot down, now look, everything's all going to the front wheels, all going that way. This, I think, is a particularly good way of distracting you from the child who's run into the road, having not heard you coming. Actually, I'm being unfair. The Prius is so slow the child could run into the road, retrieve his ball and grow to puberty before you ever actually hit him.
0 to 60 takes 13.5 seconds, and the top speed is just 99. As a result, you couldn't even use it as a milk float, because by the time you got to the end of your round, you'd be delivering cheese. Still, you might think a performance is a small price to pay if it means the Tasmanian fruit bat can be saved.
Sorry, but I drove one of these things from my house to London the other day. It's about 70 miles, and I averaged 45 miles to the gallon. A normal diesel will do better than that. A lot better.
And because the Prius has 2 engines, prices start at a whopping £17,500.
And don't think you're getting much in the way of quality for that either. I mean, I'll give you one example. To stop this armrest thing rattling, they've used sort of adhesive foam rubber tabs.
To sum up then, it's a very expensive, very complex, not terribly green, slow, cheaply made and pointless way of moving around.